Hello, everybody. My name is Daniel, Daniel Hirschmann, I suppose I should say the whole name. And I am so pleased to be talking to you guys a bit about play, and the city, and playing in the city. And I come from a studio called Hirschmann, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of background because I think it's important and relevant. I have a company that makes toys for kids to learn through play. Because play is one of the most important and meaningful ways to kind of understand and learn about the world. And we make things that are physical in the world, not that stuff that's only on screens. Just kind of speaking to Pascal's point, this is super important to me, that the things that they end up with are not stuff that is screens in the world. And the second thing is, the other company, the Hirschmann, we make little sort of interactive devices that come to life in a meaningful, physical way. So again, understanding and engaging with things in a playful, hopefully engaging way is very important to pretty much all of my practice, if I'm very honest. And just like listening to these wonderful speakers, I'm already sort of super aware of, well, I never realized how much play was so important to me. So anyway, hi. So what I'm going to do, just to give you a little idea of what to expect, I'm going to talk a bit about a couple of things that I think are inspiring, not my projects. I'm going to then follow up with a couple of specific projects, just two of them, and then I'm going to talk about the Playable City Award. That's something that probably one of the reasons why I'm here. So the first project, I'm from South Africa, by the way, and this is something that I saw in Johannesburg myself like 10 years ago, so this is a long time ago. It's something called defencing. It's by this artist named Jer Stras. I'm sorry, I'm going to say his name wrong. My apologies, Jer, wherever you are. Now. But it's through a Dutch collective called Kaskerland, which is super interesting. They do these really great engagements with public spaces. Just so you understand, Johannesburg is full of fences, full of walls. Everywhere you go, there's just protection, security between A space and B space. And so we did this really lovely project where, if you look at the yellow one, there's a steel bench that you pull through the fence in order to sit on. And if there's people on the other side of that, then they pull it through as well. And there's this really lovely engagement between those two spaces. And there's other kind of iterations on that. Another great project from that particular set of installations, Chain Riders by Jan Corbes. Again, sorry about the pronunciation. Tires are everywhere. They don't really get recycled very, very well or very much. And there's a lot of these unused spaces around the city center of Johannesburg. So he basically made these amazing tire swings and just bolted them straight to these archways and walls, which, you know, nobody gave him permission and nobody really cared. So he just did it. And the result was this amazing congregation around those particular spaces, from the kids in the area, adults in the area, etc., just by virtue of a couple of pieces of chain and some tire. Amazing. Chalk Shoes by Julia Mundell. This is a very old project, actually, but I love the idea. So obviously it's a kind of an art piece, a sculptural thing that you wear and you walk around with, but you leave these incredible traces that other people get to connect with or enjoy or wonder what the hell is going on. It's a really wonderful performance piece from, I don't know, probably 15 years ago. Again, I am that old. But then, the opposite side of that is things like this, which we've probably all come across in the cities. People who make these crazy three-dimensional chalk drawings. I mean, there's obviously a lot of cheese attached to that as well. There's some moments of like, oh, really? You made that kind of waterfall image that looks like the whole world is falling into itself? Fine, but it's still an extraordinary thing to have done, and it is very playful, and it engages people because they want to take photographs with it and lie across it, and et cetera, et cetera. So I think those are super successful types of pieces. This is probably one of my favorite public artworks in the world. It's temporary. It's a guy named Joshua Allen Harris. He makes these things called subway creatures. A little video of them here. They sit above the subway in New York, and as the trains go by, the airflow brings them to life, and they live for as long as the train is passing. And then they die again. And the empathy you build with this random crappy piece of plastic is mind-blowing. But what I love about it is that people, oh, you see? Oh, anyway. I love these things. I think they're absolutely genius. And just to go back to that other picture, I mean, look at these extraordinary creatures that were created just with trains. I love that. It's kind of like a, not parasitic really, more like symbiotic with the environment of the city. Then there's this project, which is also super old. I think originally in 2001 they started this, the Red Ball project by Kurt Peschke. Yeah, again, I'm so sorry, everybody, for your names being ruined by me. I love the simplicity of this. It's a ball that you inflate in an architectural space. It gets squished into beautiful, ridiculous pieces of classical architecture. It looks like, you can't see it on this image, but this is just the beginning of this amazing bridge. It looks like a marble run. You know, it's taking the architecture as a playground and making it into a really magnificent, interesting space. And then this you may have all seen recently, Liquid Shard by Poetic Kinetics in LA. It's just a whole shit ton of streamers with the glorious wonders of airflow. It comes to life in the most magical way. All of these projects pretty much are analog. I'm so sorry. My sincere apologies. This should be about the fusion of digital and analog and play and all that stuff. But the truth is, some of the most compelling still, to my mind, are these analog experiences. And I think there's a lot, and I'll come back to this challenge later. In order to do things properly with digital and with technology, you need to have the city itself has to come to the party in a very significant way. Otherwise, it's really tough to do things on the surface without getting under that surface. And we all know this wonderful artist, Christo. Oh, man, I wish I'd seen this. But taking something, again, using the city as your incredible landscape for play and engagement. For me, this creates a moment of wonder to everybody that sees it. Things that they used to see, they suddenly see it change dramatically. And it creates all sorts of really interesting questions, etc. How much time do I have left? Okay, you just show me numbers. So, talking about technology. 5 minutes. Oh, thank goodness. Internet of Things, machine-to-machine learning, all these wonderful catchphrases you've probably heard about, or technology types you've heard about. These are the things that help us maybe bring technology play experiences into the city. But ultimately, the key thing that I'm really intrigued by is this area of physical contact. Presence. Oh my God, that stuff. You know, not just all these clever technology things and IoTs and all that other crap. Frankly, I think it's really great means for creating awesome stuff, but you really need to use it properly to create an awesome thing for the people that are going to interact with it. So 2 quick projects. The Instrument Cloud, we did this in Namibia in Southwest Africa. And we're a studio that builds interactive stuff, but also for brands and for ourselves, for cultural institutions. So this one was for a brand. It was for a soft drink brand called Vigo. And they wanted to have this kind of crazy thing arrive in a city square and make it feel like this weird alien landscape that you could contribute your own person to in order to create a beautiful soundscape. And so these are some of the original kind of ideas for it, but ultimately it ended up being this kind of extraordinary looking thing. I'm going to skip through these things. It looked like that in a render, but it actually looked very similar to the render. This big sort of Minecraftian cloud with 8 robotic musical instruments built into it, which had these biometric input stations at the base where you would stand, use your heartbeat, hammer on things, jump around on things, etc., to contribute to the overall sort of orchestral performance of the cloud. This is one of the tests we did. But the cool thing about this was that they then, of course, wanted a DJ to be attached to the whole thing. So it was like, yeah, we could do that. It was a fun experience, but what was most interesting for me was that it was just so different to everything else in the areas that we installed it. We only installed it in 2 cities, in Johannesburg and in Windhoek. And it was, I mean, it's just this extraordinary, bizarre thing on a landscape that is typically very dusty and bright. I was really excited about doing something over there. Another project, which I'm going to play you the video of because it'll just explain itself. and I'm so sorry, but I'm not going to let you watch the rest because I haven't got enough time. Please check it out on the internet. But the thing is that playable cities aren't just these big open landscapes. These are also the spaces that you go and buy your beer from or your bread from, the corner stores that you encounter in all cities. I think those are really exciting areas to kind of engage with people. And those reactions were all real because that was actually happening. It wasn't CG cleverness. It was things actually transforming when you happen to do something in the space. These are some of the prototypes and what they looked like. Actually, this is literally a bottle top trumpet. It actually worked. Everything worked except for the very bassy tone which you didn't hear. That brings me to, very, very quickly, the project that we were very fortunate to, I guess, win the Playable City Award from Watershed. It's called Stop, Smile, Stroll. It's been a really interesting journey, this project. The intentions for the project were, let me paint a picture. You know when you're driving your car or cycling your bike or walking across a road as a pedestrian, a cyclist, or a driver, during the moments of traffic, you generally hate each other. You know, drivers hate cyclists and pedestrians hate, etc. You get what I'm saying, right? What I really am interested in is what can we do to create a shared moment of magic that makes them all sort of like slap themselves in the face and realize they're not just in this vertical of the drivers of the world or in the vertical of the cyclists of the world, but actually they're all just people going from A to B. So the idea was if we could get that create that shared moment of magic, we'd be like a huge win for us. And the way we approached that was with pedestrian crossings. When people are waiting to cross, the pedestrians will be invited to kind of be recorded, like they can touch a button to interact. It would then sort of capture their facial expression, i.e. a very light touch version of emotional state. Very light touch, I realize that. And then over the aggregate of, say, 3-4 people that may interact, we'd have a kind of generalized emotional state. As soon as the green light goes for them to cross, where the cyclists have to stop and the drivers have to stop, and of course they're very upset about stopping, suddenly LED screens facing the drivers and the cyclists also turn on, and a song plays connected to the emotional state that was averaged out from the people before. So, you know, it's like, I'm so excited. You know, that sort of thing would happen if everybody was always smiling. And of course, for me, the thing that would be super interesting would be like, what the hell is going on? That look on people's faces, looking at each other through the window of the car to the person on the bike who's looking at the pedestrians crossing who are also on the video. I mean, weird, amazing, bizarre, and hopefully quite playful. That was the idea. I just explained all this without, you get it, lots of cool stuff. And I even have some videos of us sort of testing it, which I don't think we have too much time for. Joanne is actually downstairs. That's Joanne. She's downstairs with some prototypes, so please go and have a look at them because they're quite fun. And then it just gives you a sense. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. So really, like just really playful. It's funny. It's got humor. Etc. You get it. Okay, so I'm going to move past it. Oops. So we have this. We have the prototypes downstairs. Please have a look at them. What we're doing now, though, is because what we discovered is in order to get something in the infrastructure of the city, like a pedestrian crossing, you need the councils to support that, and we did have council support. But then the one person who was supporting us decided to maybe leave the the council, and nobody loves it anymore, and therefore we aren't able to progress it past the, look at all this cool stuff we've made, can we do something with it? Not just yet. So what we decided to do is instead of focusing on the piece of infrastructure that's really challenging, like the pedestrian crossing, we're trying to create a public art piece that is more about sort of recognizing and reflecting the community around it, so it becomes almost a congregation space instead. We're using the same exact technology because we've built it already, but it's more about sort of capturing your own, sort of adding yourself to a video stream of all the things that are happening, or all the people that happen to be passing this totem in the space. We love the idea of that. We want to test it out in a public space as soon as possible. And I think it'll be really compelling because people kind of like to see themselves in a digital piece. There's a kind of digital mirror experience, and let's be honest, people tend to enjoy seeing their faces reflected back at them. I don't know why, but it's just a human thing that happens all the time. I don't know, you guys aren't really agreeing with me on that. Yeah, did you all look in the mirror this morning? Did you like what you saw? Anyway, so the point is we're really excited about bringing this to life in another way. If anybody knows anybody who can make it happen on a pedestrian crossing, let me know. That'd be awesome. But if not, totally fine. Let's just put this in public somewhere. It'll be fun. I think that's really all I was going to say. Oh yeah, that's what it might look like in the future. Oh. Go downstairs, have a look at it, have a play with it. Tell me what you think. Tell Joanne what you think. And record your face and add it to the awesome video. Thank you. Bye.